This man convinced the entire Canadian Navy that he was a naval surgeon and even performed 16 surgeries, and he didn't even have a high school diploma. His name is Ferdinand Waldo Damara, and he has become known as the Great Imposter, with a book and even a movie starring Tony Curtis made after his life. At 16 years old, he ran away from home to join a monastery and quickly decided he wanted to have more experiences in life. So instead of going and getting an education and adopting a role to have other experiences in life, he decided that he was just going to impersonate people who had responsible positions in the world. He impersonated a prison warden. He impersonated psychologists. He impersonated monks. And most famously, he impersonated Dr. Joseph Sear, a naval surgeon on the HMCS Cayuga. Now, while he was on the Cayuga, he performed 16 surgeries. Every one of the people he performed surgeries on survived, and he literally saved people's lives. But how could he perform surgeries if he wasn't a doctor? Well, he had a medical textbook and he would go through and memorize the procedures that he was going to do the next day. The night before, he would memorize the procedure, then he would go the next day and do the procedures. A truly remarkable task. Embarrassing for the doctors and dangerous for the patients, but in his case, he was his case. It turned out okay. It was everybody involved was quite lucky, but here's the amazing part: nobody caught him. The only reason he was caught was because news coverage eventually got back to his family. His family saw him on the news and said, "That's not Dr. Sear, that's Ferdinand." And they reported him, and he ended up getting caught. The only way that he avoided truly getting finding substantial consequences is because he really did save some people's lives. But how could he possibly? How could he possibly impersonate psychologists and prison ward and doctors and monks and et cetera, et cetera? It was actually very easy. He created the documentation that he needed. Now he forged it. Of course, we don't want to do that, but he created the documentation that he needed. He dressed appropriately. He wrapped himself appropriately for the people he was going to be talking to, what they expected to see and what they wanted to see. And then he presented himself with a substantial amount of confidence, even if that confidence was feigned. So, what can we do as business owners to learn from the great imposter from Ferdinand Damara? Number one, we can get certifications. And if we can't or don't want to be bothered getting the certifications, we can create our own third party organizations and certify ourselves. I've done that myself. In a business I owned in animal remediation, I created an association called the Animal Council or the International Council of Animal Remediation Experts, and then I certified my company as a certified animal remediation contractor. Um, some people might find that dishonest. It actually is 100% legal. And as long as you're not piggybacking on somebody else's certification, you're not claiming a certification of a third party who you didn't really get. If you create the organization, you can certify yourself. It's legal and it happens all the time. It's actually how AARP was created, and it's actually how AAA was created. The American Automotive Association they're actually insurance companies, they're insurance brokers, but they created an association to sell insurance for what they're doing and then eventually kind of morphed into what they were supposed to be in the first place. So that's one way as far as the certifications. Wrapping yourself in the appropriate attire that is going to relate to the people who you're selling to and who you're dealing with. If people expect and want to see you in a suit, wear a suit. If people expect and want to see you in more casual clothes, wear more casual clothes. Whatever you're doing, you want to wrap yourself in the wrapper that you expect to see. And number three, he would present himself with confidence. Now, a lot of people have impersonator syndrome, imposter syndrome. But I have sold I have sold numerous things in my life that I really didn't know how to deliver. I had people, either I was working for somebody in my earlier years or I owned a business, and other people who were experts would deliver the product or service that I was selling. But I knew enough about it. You see, I knew more than the person I was selling to. So I could present with a tremendous amount of confidence. Hell, when I was back in the mortgage brokers day, in my mortgage broker days, I remember going out on to get my first application, and the HUD application form is crazy. I mean, there's all kinds of information on it. And I figured, well, I really don't know how to do this. But I didn't have time to wait for another mortgage broker to go with me to go in and do the presentation. So I just said, well, I'll go myself. And when the owner of the brokerage said, well, are you sure you should do that? This is your first application. I said, I know more than they know, so I'll be fine. And that's exactly what we did. I went out and I took the application and we closed the loan. You see, if you know more than the people you're talking to, you're fine. Now, you want to definitely make sure whoever's delivering the material, whether that's you or whether that's somebody you're working with, or whether you're somebody you've hired to deliver the product or service, you want to make sure they're experts, but you can present with tremendous confidence just knowing more than the people you're presenting to. So, what do we learn from Ferdinand? We learn to wrap ourselves properly. We learn to create credibility through certifications, and we learn to present ourselves with tremendous confidence. That's how you close more sales. That's how you turn more prospects into cash in your pocket. And I will see you here on Hustlers, Gamblers, and Entrepreneurs next time. Cheers.